Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, before I go into the whole thing, you can go to the link in the description and check out a written review, or go to www.thegravelpit.net if you want to see that. Although I stick around for this video one, and whatever. So this is the whole return to glory thing for the Donkey Kong Country series. Normally I would probably try to talk a bit about that and try to back it up a bit, since I know I haven't talked about the Donkey Kong Country games at all. But if you've got Donkey Kong Country Returns, I'm going to assume that you either know a bit about Donkey Kong, or that you know, Donkey Kong Country games, or that you played them, or something, that you're not just going in here totally blind. But I guess if you are, the only things you really need to know is that the Donkey Kong Country series was a series of really great 2D platforming games, and this is more or less the same thing, just in more of a 2.5D version. A lot of the gameplay is pretty similar to what you've been used to for a lot of it. You know, you can walk, you can run, you can roll, you can pick up things and throw them, or you can jump on enemies, you can do that dashy jump thing with your roll. It's neat. It's a lot of stuff you might recognize. There's also, you know, Donkey Kong's in it, Diddy Kong's in it, you know those guys. You go around collecting bananas and these Kong letters, and you know, balloons. There's still balloons. Still got those. There's the blast barrels. You shoot from barrel to barrel, you know, and there are minecart levels, and there's swinging from vines. So there's you know, then there's, you know, the settings. There's jungles. There's forests. There's a factory, which seems a little out of place, but it's a thing that happens in a lot of them. You know, there's like a swamp. There's a beach. There's all kinds of stuff in this game, man, and it's a lot of stuff that you might be, you know, familiar with from other Donkey Kong Country games. But they try to add in a lot of other stuff too to make it a bit different. I think that's what's really worth talking about. Now, obviously, it's 2.5D, so instead of being an actual 2D game that's trying to show 3D, it's just actually things are in 3D. But you still play in the side-scrolling manner, so it's like, you know, 2.5D is what they call it. Even though everything is 3D, you're playing in 2D. You guys probably already know that by now. But the game's pretty cool because it tries to add in some new stuff here. Obviously, like, okay, the main story is got to be different because you don't have King K. Rool, you don't have the Kremlings. They're not back. Kremling, I forget which it is, but they're not back. I think Rare owns them. Maybe, I don't know, but they're not here. Instead, there are these weird tiki mask, drum instrument, wood things that come in, and they steal all of Donkey and Diddy's bananas, and so you chase them, and along the way they hypnotize a bunch of animals, so the animals will fight you, and I guess so you're just trying to get your bananas back, even though, like, along the way you do collect a crap load of bananas. I don't know if those are supposed to be part of the horde or not. Whatever. Story's not really all that important. There's not a whole lot to it. Basically, you're just trying to get back all your bananas again. You know, you go through levels and trying to get to the end of them. And in these levels, there's a lot of bonus sections you can go to where you're, you know, you're trying to collect bananas and the Kong letters, and you get like a little reward for collecting all the Kong letters in each level. But there are a lot of these bonus sections in each level, and hidden parts. The bonus rooms usually have some kind of challenge, like collecting everything in the room, like a lot of bananas and stuff, and you have to use, you know, your whatever the room's layout is, some kind of gimmick, like maybe bouncing on a trampoline type thing, or shooting from barrel to barrel to do it. Stuff that you might be used to from other games, actually. It's a similar kind of concept, and if you do that within the time limit, you will be rewarded with a golden jigsaw puzzle piece. Yeah. So you're trying to collect those in each level. There's a certain amount of those, and you get a thing, a bonus for collecting all of those in every level as well. So, you know, you want to be collecting that stuff as you go along, and they're usually hidden either in challenge rooms like that, or hidden in, like, just, like, little hidey spots in the levels that are difficult to get to, or like either difficult or like hard to find. And I don't know, like that's just another collection aspect to it. It's something you probably expect. You get 100 bananas, you get an extra life. You collect a balloon, you get an extra life. And there's a bunch of banana coins in the levels, and you can use those as currency. And the currency can be used in a Cranky Kong shop, which there's one on every world. And there's a bunch of power-up stuff there for, like, you can buy extra lives, you can buy stuff to, like, help you find those, the puzzle pieces. You can find stuff to, like, you can buy stuff to make you invincible, or, like, if for, like, your person, or for, like, your cart, or an extra DK barrel to get Diddy. And that's the thing I guess I should mention, too, is that if you get Diddy in this game, because you have two, or I guess you start the game with 3 hearts, and it's like if you get hit, you'll lose a heart, instead of, like, just having both your characters act as, like, a hit point in the originals. But if you get Diddy, then he adds an extra 3 hearts to you, and he's on your back, and then you can use, like, a jetpack. So, like, basically just hold jump longer, and then you kind of, like, hover a bit because Diddy has a jetpack. So that's how Diddy is helpful in this game, and how he exists. But in the shop, there's also, the one other thing in the shop is, like, this key where it's, like, it just opens up, a different path, like for another level, or a few levels or something in the world, so that you can go an alternate path if you want to, or just have more levels if you want more levels, which is neat. So if you're having trouble with the levels, basically go to that shop and buy some stuff. And I'd talk more about that stuff in depth, except that I really kind of just didn't get them. I mostly just went there to buy the keys to get to the extra levels, and then I sort of bought lives. That's all I really did in them. So, sorry I can't talk more about that stuff. But basically, you can, when you're going into a level, you can pick 3 things, and they'll be in your inventory. And then I believe, as far as I can tell, you can tap those from your inventory anytime. Could be wrong about that. Like I say, I didn't use them, but I think that's how it works. And basically, at the end of each world, then there is a boss, and you fight the boss. It's usually something that got possessed by one of those tiki things, and then you beat them, you go on to the next world, and you just do that through all the worlds. It's very much just a platformer. But there's the thing that's so cool is that there's so much stuff in these that are going through here. Like there are some new levels, like there are these ones where like everything is basically like a silhouette, so you can only see like the red of like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong's like clothes, and like certain other things have a few splashes of color on them, like the banana coins and stuff that you can collect. But most of like the other stuff is like a silhouette, and maybe there's some kind of background or something in there. It's really cool, like artistically neat, and it adds a lot of interesting little like some slight puzzly elements to it that you can do. And there's new stuff like there's these like barrel rocket levels where you go into like this barrel, and then like basically it's just automatically propelled to the right, and you just like you tap or hold A or whatever, like you can tap it or you hold A, basically you hold A to ascend, and you or not A, whatever, jump. You hold jump to ascend, and you let go to descend, and you can tap it to try and manipulate your height and everything, and long sections of that, which I think is similar to like the new version of like minecart levels, even though they're still on minecart levels. They just work differently with that. It's like there's some levels that do that as well. There's new stuff like climbing on like grassy surfaces. You can climb all around on them, and there's like a ground pound you can do, and there's the thing if you can blow stuff, so like you can like pound stuff in the background to get power-ups, like blow some stuff that's kind of in the background a bit. You can extinguish some enemies with the blow, and you can attack some enemies and flip platforms and break stuff with the pound. It's some interesting little stuff. And like your roll is, I guess, it's similar to the way it was before, except it gives you a lot more of a boost. So, like, you have to have a little bit of momentum to do it usually, but, like, you can use it to jump further as well as, attack enemies and stuff. So, it's an interesting, like, just additions to that. And I don't know, there's a lot of, like, there's, like, crumbling platform stuff and things, like, different weights on platforms, you gotta, like, move them like that, and there's just all kinds of, like, stuff that just keeps constantly introducing things. Like, so many things get introduced in this game, like, as you go through the levels, and they just feel like they keep, like, some chasing levels where stuff's behind you, and you have to, like, go forward really fast, or stuff where it's, like, coming up, and you have to, run up really fast, jump up platforms and stuff. There's just all kinds of things that they just keep throwing in, and it's cool because the environments, like, there's a lot of samey-ish environments, in each world, but there's so many details, so many stuff like in the foreground and the background, and the background of the background. It's like so many layers and things happening everywhere that it's like visually very, very appealing. A lot of and interesting. And the music is really catchy, and like a lot of the drum beats and everything. And there's the beats and the trumpets and whatever, and then there's like the sound is of like all the guinea bananas doing stuff is very like clicky. Is how I would say it's very like clicky and like satisfying to get stuff and like do things, and like it all comes together. It's like it's super polished, and it's this really cool package of stuff that you can do. And it's a game that stays entertaining the more like as you play. Like it just stays entertaining. You think like, okay, I'm being introduced to these different things, and I'm going to I'm going to be introduced to this, and then just going to use this more and more as it goes on. And like they do integrate it into other levels, but they're constantly introducing like new stuff to you and like interesting new ways to look at things. So it doesn't just feel like you're learning how to play later levels. It feels like you're constantly being on your toes and adapting to the new situations, and it's awesome. It's a really cool, like adventurous and like exciting feel to it, where it doesn't feel like the game like gets stale, partway through it. It's pretty much exciting pretty much all the way through. And that's just fantastic. This is I don't know how the original plays, because again, that was one where I didn't get to play it because my Wii broke. And this one is basically a port of that for the 3DS with different visuals, I believe it is, because they have to make it work for a 3DS and the 3D effect, which I didn't use, so I can't really vouch for how that works. But it was it has actually some more power-ups for you to get. You have 3 hearts instead of 2 when you start. And there's actually more levels. There's like a bonus world of extra levels that weren't in the Wii version. So I think it's because of that, and it's on a handheld. I do think this is probably a better version to get, unless you're looking to play multiplayer, which probably is easier on a big screen like that. But just really, really impressive game. I'm very, very surprised in how awesome this was. Although you can choose to play on normal mode. Or original mode, I guess that's what it's called, where you only have the 2 hearts and they don't have all the extra stuff in the shops. And you go through the game, and there's also a part where near the end of the game, you go through and there's, you fight bosses, and then you fight the final boss and solve the thing. It's not a very satisfying ending necessarily, just because of the story-wise, because you're like, I still don't really get it, but whatever, we did it. And after that final boss, then there's like a thing where like you have to go to this temple, and you can open up the temple, and basically to open it you have to go back and buy these orbs from each of the shops in the previous, on each world. You have to go back to the shop of each world and buy like this orb in it. So you get all of those, and they're like 50 banana coins a pop. And I think that's kind of neat, just because it's like it kind of incentivizes, like, okay, like, I need to farm some more banana coins, so maybe because I haven't gotten all the puzzle pieces in levels, or all the con letters in levels, I go back and try to do those again and do better on those. And also, once you beat levels, you can do time trials, so, like, maybe you just want to try and do all the time trial, or I guess it's called time attack, and try to get the best time to get, like, these really good medals for them, by beating them within a certain amount of, certain time limits. There's, like, reasons to go back and replay those levels. And this is a nice way to kind of incentivize, like, going back and doing that stuff, especially if you had to spend a lot of your banana coins on stuff in cranky shops. You might be short. I had enough to just buy all of those things right away and just keep going. And once you get all those orbs, you're able to go to, like, the bonus world, which has all those extra levels in it. And that was kind of an interesting thing, that it has extra stuff like that, and that's how you access it. And then the final level is, I think the final level is the only level that's actually in the original one, as also like the final level like of that, I believe. So ties it together in that regard. And I can't do too much more for comparisons, because like I say, I haven't played the original, so I can't say too much about other little details and what have you. But as great as it is, I will also say it's not perfect. Nothing is. But even though it is damn good, there are some things that were kind of frustrating. At first, the game's controls can be kind of annoying, like, just, not necessarily the controls, but just how the game controls, and, like, you have to get used to your momentum, and the hitboxes, and, like, the way the animation is with, like, the 2.5D stuff. Sometimes you think you're gonna, you're gonna make it past an enemy and you don't, or sometimes you think you're gonna land on an enemy, you just get hurt by them. Sometimes you think you're gonna make it to a ledge and you don't, or you think that you're not going to and then you do. And you have to really just get used to the way it feels and the way the momentum and everything works. Also, I had a little bit of trouble with the thing, because like to do the roll attack, instead of just hitting the run button, you actually hit the shoulder buttons to do that. So like hitting that to do like the roll thing is kind of weird to get used to when you're used to holding the run button, or like hitting the run button to do that. But at the same time, you use the run button is the same one you use to pick up barrels. So like if you're running past a barrel, unlike the other ones where you would just automatically pick it up because you're holding that button, you actually have to tap it again to pick it up, which I think is good because you don't accidentally pick it up when you don't want to, I guess, and stuff. Nice little touch, I suppose, on that regard. Also, the shoulder button thing was kind of annoying because you use it to do the roll, you also use it to do the ground pound, so sometimes I'm doing the ground pound and then I hit over and I start rolling and I was like, I didn't mean to do that, and that can get me killed. Or I try to do a roll, but I'm not moving enough, so I just do a ground pound and that can get you killed. And then the blowing thing is down in that, and it's okay, but it does seem like it was underutilized, like they could have done more things with that. I was expecting them to do some more things with it, and then they didn't. So that probably could have been fleshed out more, and it was just kind of weird. So I don't know, but those aren't huge complaints or anything. I guess it was just kind of annoying. Barrel rockets really pissed me off because they feel... I mean, it's about like trying to finesse it and trying to get the skill of it. I understand that, but it's also feels really like wonky and inconsistent. Like sometimes it's hard to like, because like when you're like accelerating and stuff, like the barrel like turns so much that you have to like try to deal with these weird angles and stuff. Sometimes like you think you're fine, but you like Donkey like kind of flops weird because of like the way the momentum is propelling you and stuff, and like it was much more frustrating than I think it should have been. Also, the last bonus level, the very last level of the entire game, fuck that level. It's basically was like, like, we're gonna have this level be really long, and have some really difficult platforming with enemies that haven't even shown up in the rest of the game, so it's extra difficult on all fronts. And, those checkpoints that have been in the entire game? Fuck those. Fuck those. You don't get any of those. Do the whole thing in one run, asshole. And doing that will net you mirror mode, which isn't much of a reward. It just means you can play all the levels backwards, and you can't get Diddy. And so yeah, that's what it is. All levels are backwards. You can't get Diddy, and you have one less heart. So that means 2 hearts on new mode, and on original mode, you'd only have 1 fucking heart to do that shit. That's ridiculous. But if you get all the con letters, you get another thing for it. So I guess there's that. If you really want that much replayability with it, if you want to put yourself through that much of a challenge, through that much fucking suffering, which I don't know that I would want to do. I also think the final boss could have been a bit longer. When you get to the boss, I got to the boss and I had Diddy with me. There was like a bit of a barrel rocket level before it, but then when I got to the boss, I naturally I died because I didn't know what he was going to do when I first fought him. And then after that, it had me at a checkpoint there. But the checkpoint was like, I just keep restarting there. I don't go back to the level and I'm at that spot. So it's like I have to keep replaying, the boss fight without Diddy every time. And it's kind of hard. But I feel like the boss fight either could have been more difficult, maybe, or just had more forms. I don't know. I felt a little lacking, but maybe that's just me. It wasn't bad or anything. With the levels they did, I don't have too much of a complaint with this either, but I feel like the silhouette type level, they could have done some more of those. I guess they didn't want to feel formulaic, where okay, every world needs minecart, a regular level, minecart level, a barrel rocket level, a silhouette level. They didn't want to start chopping it up into very formulaic pieces, I guess. But I would have enjoyed doing that. I don't know. I feel like they could have used that type of level a couple more times anyways. But, and, there was no, actually, come to think of it, there's no underwater stuff, which is actually kind of weird. I also should have mentioned that Rambi is in this game. So if you guys like Rambi, he's here also. But I just remembered it now. So oops. So yeah, it's the only other minor thing is like with even though I don't play multiplayer with it, but you have to play with two like for multiplayer you both need to own a copy of it. It's not online. You have to be local. You have to both own a copy, and whoever is the main player, that's whose file they're using and the stuff that will save. Anything the other player does is not saved onto their own thing or anything. So why do you need two carts for it then anyways? I don't know. I found that to be kind of weird, but whatever. Like, I'm probably not going to take advantage of that anyways. I don't really have to worry about it. But you know, it's I can see it being fun, but it just might be kind of confusing. I don't know. I can't say much about it. I just think it would have been nice if they had shown a little more, effort for that. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. Wish they didn't put that sticker on the thing. It didn't come off the way I wanted it to. Jeez. It's a really, really good game. It's got a lot of great polish. It has so many new things being thrown at you in these fun levels, like constantly, and there's all kinds of fun stuff. There's the whole, I didn't mention it because I just thought of it now. Again, like a fucking idiot. But there's like this thing where like there's a Super Kong thing where like if you die too many times in a level, you can push start near the pig guy. He'll pop up and be like, "Hey, push start." And then Super Kong, you can have him come in and just beat the level for you, and you don't get anything for it except the ability to move on to later levels, which is kind of stupid that they have that, but it's an option. So in case like you're having trouble with it, it's like, okay, well, I'll do that. The power-ups aren't helping me. I'm having too much trouble. I'm going to do that, and have him do that, so I'm not barred from experiencing the rest of the game. So that's interesting, and you get an idea of how to do those parts, So I guess, it's okay, but I didn't really use it except to see what it did once. All the power-ups and stuff are cool, too, if you want that help, but I didn't use them. Did you guys? Did you guys ever use Super Kong either? Let's pretend like I was just asking this stuff for the comments. I also think, what do you think of the checkpoints? I know original Donkey Kong Country stuff usually had, like one checkpoint in the middle of the level. Wow. But, like, there's, like, usually multiple checkpoints in these, but I feel like they were spaced out enough and, like, they weren't, like, overused, like, you were just getting a checkpoint constantly, and it was nice because, the levels weren't overly long and the really difficult ones. So it's like you would do a lot of difficult stuff and then finally hit a checkpoint once you got good at that part. And then the next part, if it killed you, you wouldn't have to keep, playing over the same parts for, like, a huge amount, like, huge sections over and over again. You just have to play over these certain parts and get good at those parts to be able to pass them. So I always thought that was, like, I thought that they did a really good job balancing it. So it's good for, like, as challenging as you want it to be, you can do it on original mode or new mode. You can do the mirror stuff. You can try to collect everything. I didn't collect everything, although I really liked collecting those golden jigsaw pieces. Maybe it's just because I love Banjo-Kazooie, but it was awesome. They could have maybe had more variety in those bonus rooms, but they were really fun to do, and they helped you along the way, so what did you guys think of this? And if you guys have played both versions, tell me how this really, like, from personal experience, how this stacks up to the Wii version. And I don't know, I mean, like, I'm looking forward to, doing some other Donkey Kong Country stuff, maybe, or just Donkey Kong games in general. This definitely is one where it's like, I definitely don't regret getting this. It was worth, the, whatever, $30? I don't know, that part came up. It was like 25, I think that's what it was for this. It's like 25 to $30. Even like full price is pretty good for what it is. It's a really great game, great platformer. I think you guys really, really like it. And definitely, if you're a fan of, Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Country series, I think that this, maybe not necessarily exactly the same or anything, but I don't think it'll disappoint. I think you'll have damn good time with it because they knew how to make this. They knew what they were doing. Why couldn't they have done something like this with Banjo-Kazooie?